Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is James Press Carter taking you through some of my experience in my over 25 years in this entertainment business as I continue to grow my skills and knowledge. I just want to show everybody some of my work that I've done in the past, and I will be talking about some of my work that I want to do in the future. So, again, everybody in this world is all about the proof is in the pudding. So, I'm just showing the proof. This is when I had worked with the group Escape when they first came out. I was their lighting technician. I also did Monica and Faith Evans also. This was my nominee certificate for my first Adelco Award. After that, I was nominated 3 times after. This is my award that I won for the Adelco. I had also did lighting for Fortunes of Nature. I worked as a production assistant on Sophisticated Ladies on Broadway back in the days with Gregory Hines and Judy Jameson. Phyllis Hyman was also in it. Hinton Battle, Greg Burge. It's a great cast. I had lots of fun. This was another show I did off Broadway at a club that is no longer around called Sweetwaters. I also worked at Aaron Davis Hall, and I was part of their crew. But prior to that, I was also lighting design, as well as at the Apollo Theater. This was another show I worked on Broadway with Gregory Hines. I also had a chance to work with the one and only Michael Jackson on a musical called Sister Ella, and I was the assistant stage manager. This was a letter that I asked for when I worked at Good Morning America from the stage manager, Ed Louisi. Again, the proof is there, so I know what I'm doing. This was a great musical also that I worked with George Faison, who was the Tony Award winning choreographer for The Wiz. This one was called Heaven and the Homeboys. I worked with Raisin in the Sun, and this was years ago with can't even say, Felicia Rashad was in it. It was a pretty good cast. Again, I was the assistant stage manager, which you see right there. This was a show that I was involved in, but didn't do it on Broadway. When it was on Broadway, it was called Smokey Joe's Cafe. I was part of the company when it was in Chicago, and we were still tweaking the show. I had a good time working with the Boys Choir of Harlem for years as a stage manager, thanks to Ken Hansen, who brought me on. And when it went to Broadway, I was part of it as well as the stage manager. This was one of my favorite jobs that I loved, which was Black Expo. Jerry Robach. I was with them for at least a good 5 years, I think. And we did some serious tours all over. I was the stage manager, and also I had pretty much booked the talent to perform when we had our stage. The Billie Holiday Theater is where I got most of my start at as an intern under the youth worker program back in the days. And I was under Felix E. Cochran, who was the resident costume and set designer there. So I've learned costumes, sets, then I started learning props and special effects and lighting, etc. I had a chance to work with the Puerto Rican Travel Theater as a production manager, which you see right there. And it was a pretty good experience. We did some shows in different areas in New York City. I had a chance also to work on Broadway again with Your Arms Too Short to Box with God, with Patti LaBelle and Al Green. This was another show I had a good time working with, and this was with kids. The Tada Resident Company. This was a show I had worked with at the, which you see, the Jewish Repertory Theater, Angel Levine, and again, I was the assistant stage manager. Andre DeShields was in this here. We had a pretty good cast also, as you see. Here's another show I worked on as a lighting designer. And most of the time when I was hired as a light designer, I also programmed the lighting, cue to cues, etc. As an electrician also. This was another show I worked with that was great. Back at Billie Holiday Theater, another great show I worked on. And I was pretty much at the Billie Holiday Theater, I guess, for 5 years maybe. And we had Samuel L. Jackson that was part of the crew back then. And then he decided to step up and start doing some acting.